This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the morning of Thursday, September 7th, 2023. I'm Kate Sharon. The CEO of Columbus-based Cummins says the newly announced joint venture to build a battery cell manufacturing plant is the first big investment in battery cells for commercial vehicles in the United States. The company's zero-emissions business unit, Accelera by Cummins, is teaming up with 3 other companies for what is estimated to be a $2 to $3 billion investment that Jennifer Rumsey said will create a significant number of jobs.
This is a pretty significant investment in this new plant. And then that allows us to share that investment and create cells that we believe will have scale as the transition begins to occur. And then each of us can take those cells and design and produce battery packs.
While the joint venture still requires regulatory approvals, Rumsey said the companies are looking to get ahead of what will be a big shift towards electric commercial vehicles. Rumsey said the partners are in the final stages of evaluating several sites across the U.S. However, she added regardless of where the plant is built, it will support operations in Indiana. The joint venture aims to begin production in 2027. When at full capacity, Rumsey said the plant will be able to produce 21 gigawatt hours of battery cells. Camden, New Jersey United States Cold Storage will soon set up operations in Northwest Indiana, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation announced Wednesday. The public refrigerated warehousing and logistics services provider plans to invest $124 million to construct a new facility at a 110-acre site in Hebron and create up to 60 jobs by the end of 2028. The IEDC says USCS will utilize 70 acres for building a public refrigerated warehouse with associated trailer drop areas and other needs. The remaining 40 acres will be reserved for a potential customer to build a production facility in the coming years. A new study shows Indiana's advanced manufacturing and logistics industries are trending towards increased growth and more jobs. IIB's Alex Brown has more.
Indiana's priority advanced manufacturing sector is expected to grow by 5 to 10%, according to Connexus Indiana and Lightcast's new workforce study, and subsectors dealing with transportation equipment, chemical, and computer and electronic products could add 13,000 jobs by 2026. The report sought to analyze job growth data in manufacturing and logistics, focusing on priority industries laid out in the Indiana Economic Development Corporation's 5E vision. That plan seeks to bolster microelectronics, life sciences, advanced mobility, and clean energy. The report also shows that the state's employment concentration, industry skill demand, and advertised wages are competitive or better than other Midwestern states, as well as being higher than the national average. Indiana's advanced manufacturing industry averages $89,555 in total compensation and $67,988 for logistics. Jobs expected to grow by 2026 are semiconductor processing technicians by 32%, biochemists and biophysicists by 22%, and biological technicians and chemical engineers by 19%. The report also gives a number of recommendations to continue to increase growth, including drawing Gen Z talent and continuing to be a leader in transportation equipment manufacturing. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
For 25 years, we've had the honor of telling the story of Indiana business. More than 1,300 shows, 8,000 interviews. We've traveled from Valparaiso to Versailles, Fort Wayne to Fort Branch, and everywhere in between. And we are just getting started. Our team is passionate about Indiana business because your story is worth telling. Join us every week as we travel the state to bring you Indiana's story. Inside Indiana Business, 25 years and counting.
Governor Eric Holcomb is set to lead a delegation on a week-long trip to Japan with the goal of shoring up long-time relationships with Japanese companies doing business in Indiana and securing additional investments from Indiana's largest foreign investor. Indiana has had the largest amount of Japanese investment per capita among all U.S. states, according to the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. Japanese companies employ more than 55,000 Hoosiers, and more than 300 Japanese businesses operate in the state, including Subaru Corporation, Toyota Motor Corporation, Honda Motor Corporation, and Hitachi. The Indiana Destination Development Corporation is rolling out a new interactive feature of its In Indiana campaign. 3 In Indiana selfie signs are deployed across the state, with visitors encouraged to post pictures using the hashtag InIndiana. The signs are 5-foot-tall 3D block logos made of polyurethane resin and finished with an automotive enamel to handle heavy wear and outdoor use. Initially introduced at this year's Indiana State Fair, signs can be found in northern, central, and southern Indiana. An Indianapolis-based insurance regulatory firm announced Tuesday its purchase of a national practice, expanding its team and following another recent acquisition earlier this year. Noble Consulting Incorporated has now acquired both Johnson Lamper LLP and North Dakota-based Eid Bailey LLP's insurance regulatory practice. Johnson Lamper, the most recent addition, is a provider of audit, tax, and consulting services to the insurance industry. Noble Consulting has a headcount of 60 employees. The company added 8 new employees from the recent acquisition who will be retained under their current roles and responsibilities. President of Bloomington-based Cook Group, Pete Yonkman, is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Kate Sharon for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.